This is part two of 37 that I'm gonna talk about my trip. I hope you're okay with that. It might not be 37, but here we are with part two of my Euro trip. This is an episode that actually a lot of people asked for because today I'm gonna talk about how we organized for this trip. We planned and did everything by ourselves. We didn't hire a company, an agency, nothing. We did everything like independently, and I'm gonna try to explain why, how, kind of a step by step, but not really. I'm just gonna explain everything we did, and I think it's gonna be something good to start with if you want to plan yours, right? I gotta be honest, it's not as difficult as I thought it would be. And yes, it costs a lot of money, a lot more than you initially plan, but it seemed very possible for me. I thought it was going to be harder and more impossible to do things, and it wasn't. So, but anyways, I'm going to explain why. Welcome to this episode desse podcast que a gente usa para alimentar sua fluência e aproveitar e aprender umas coisinhas, pegar umas dicas, né? Com esses episódios de viagem. Eu vou voltar aos episódios normais muito em breve, mas é bem legal poder falar dessa experiência. Espero que vocês gostem também. E se vocês querem algo específico, querem que eu fale de algo específico, por favor, sugiram nos comentários, na nossa DM. Fiquem à vontade, várias pessoas já pediram, e aí eu vou tentar organizar esses temas, ao mesmo tempo voltar a falar dos temas também de sempre, né? Pra não ficar muito cansativo. Mas é isso. Ativem as notificações pra você lembrar aí que toda quarta-feira, às 6 horas, a gente tem um podcast. E manda esse podcast pra alguém que vai gostar dessas dicas. Os podcasts da viagem, gente, eu parei de postar podcast no YouTube. Porque era muito trabalho, não dava retorno. O Spotify é muito melhor. Mas esses episódios da viagem eu vou postar lá, porque lá você consegue ativar a legenda em português, tá? Eu acho que não dá pra fazer isso no Spotify. Então, uns 2 dias depois, sei lá, eu tô postando no canal da Wave lá. E aí, quem não fala inglês e ainda assim quer essas dicas, pode ativar a legenda em português, tá? Eu vou estar avisando isso nos stories da Wave, mas é isso. Let's start. Okay, so. I made a little script to explain to you how we planned this trip. And also, I have in this episode some very specific tips and some advice. Do you know advice, conselhos? I have some advice, some things that we experienced, and then I thought, this is good for people to know when they're planning their Euro trip. But so this episode is gonna be divided in two parts. The first part, I'm gonna tell you how I'm gonna explain how we organize this by ourselves, without a company to help, without an agency, just with the internet. And then the part two of this episode, it's in the same episode, I'm gonna give you a list of tips, a list of advice that I thought while I was traveling. I thought, I'm gonna write this down. And then I wrote some things down and I'm gonna bring them in the second part of this episode, okay? So let's start with how we started planning for this. So I've always known that I was gonna take this trip eventually, right? It's always been a goal. It's always been a dream. And I knew it was gonna happen. And then I decided that it was gonna be in 2026. So I knew exactly the year that I wanted to go, which means I've been thinking about this maybe like 3 years before. And in 2025 was when I actually started doing something practical about it. But I recommend that 1 year and a half, 2 years prior, you can start saving money. That's my advice uh because like it'll be easier, right? The more money that you have saved in your savings account, the easier it'll be to plan. So decide when you want to go and start saving. Start saving. That's the important part in the beginning. I've been thinking about this trip maybe since 2023, 2024, and I was putting like small amounts of money in a specific bank account for this trip. But you can only start doing something practical 1 year before. Honestly, some people plan 6 years prior, but I would recommend planning, start doing something practical things 1 year before. Because this is when you can start tracking flight tickets, plane tickets, right? So, uh, 1 year prior, you can start tracking, like rastrear the plane tickets on Google Flights. That's what we did. So in 2025, 1 year, like June 2025, we turned on the notifications for the prices of the plane ticket. So every time it went up or down, we received an email. So we started understanding how much it cost. We started understanding the average price, the high price, the low price, so that when we finally decided to buy, we would know if we were paying like a good price or not, right? So we started tracking and saving money, of course. Always any money you can put in the savings account, okay? It's really important so you don't get stressed later. And even when we didn't know the specific dates that we would travel, we were already tracking these plane tickets. But it's important to decide the date that you will go and the date that you will return, and uh, track the prices on these specific dates, right? So we decided that it was going to be from June to July, and then that's what we started doing and saving money. Saving money is really, really important. It's not like planning a trip in Brazil, because you can't use your credit card for everything, and you can't pay everything in installments. Pay something in installments, pagar parcelado. So when it's an international trip, you can't pay everything in installments. So sometimes you need to have a lot of money right away to pay for something. So it's important to have this savings account for these situations, because you will probably buy a plane ticket and you can't pay in installments. So you will need 1,500, like you will need this money. So just keep it saved in your account. Okay, still talking about money. I'm gonna talk about money more specifically on my personal Instagram, but just to give you a an overview, okay? So, uh, the money that I saved, I used it for the main plane ticket from Brazil and to Brazil and back to Brazil, So there's this big plane ticket, which is the plane ticket from Brazil and to Brazil, right? From and back. The Oh my God, the round trip, ida e volta, right? So this is the big plane ticket. Ours was 5,000 something. Okay, so you need to be prepared for that. We were able to pay in 4 installments. Okay, so you don't have a lot of room. You don't have a lot of opportunity to like pay in 12, 20 installments. This is not a thing. So you need to have your money, because when you get an email and the price of the ticket is good, you need to buy it right away, because otherwise you will lose that good price. So you need to have money on your savings account. Okay, I can't stress this enough. And then this money that I saved, let's say I saved around 10,000 reais, maybe 12. I'm not sure. I don't remember anymore. This money I used to pay for the main plane ticket, the round trip to Brazil. And eventually, like maybe 6 months before the trip, I started buying euro. So depending on the place you go, start buying the currency. Currency é a moeda do país. And so you need to start buying euro. You can find a bank, an international bank for that. Because every time the price is low, the euro is low or the dollar is low, it's good that you buy something, that you buy a small amount. Because when you travel, like next year, the dollar could be so much higher, the euro could be so much higher. So if you have the opportunity to buy euro or dollar when it's low, do it. So this money that you saved in your account, every time that the euro or the dollar, like they have a good price, euro in my case, because we were going to Europe, I bought a little bit with the money from the account. Also, when you go to another country, you need to prove to them that you have money to survive there, right? In Europe, you have to prove that you have at least 50 euro a day to spend a day there. So the money that I was saving, I was buying euro little by little. Every day that the price was good, I bought a few. And until I had the final number that was 50 euro a day that I was gonna spend there. I bought more euros than that, okay? Like 50 euro, you can survive with 50 euro, but you can't do some fun stuff if you only have 50 euro a day. So I bought more, but you get the idea, right? And the rest of the stuff I started buying with my credit card so I could have a little more time to pay for it. Uh, but again, you can't pay in installments. So every month, a big part of my income, my money, went to my credit card because I was buying the tickets, I was buying the tourist attractions, I was buying a lot of things that you need to buy to travel internationally, like stupid things like socks, like uh, the adapter because the plugs, the outlets, as tomadas, the outlets are different. So you have to buy adapters. You have to buy, I don't know, a suitcase sometimes because you don't have the right suitcase, a backpack. These little things. It's a lot of things. So I used my credit card to buy these little things and also the other things in the trip, like the other plane tickets, the train tickets, the tourist attractions. I used my credit card, but I had money saved. Okay. I was just using my credit card because I wanted to have a little more time to prepare myself to pay for the things. But okay. Uh I think I could have saved more, and I advise you to save at least 15,000 before you start paying and buying everything, okay? Seriously. I 20 if possible. 20 if possible. But 15,000 is a good amount to have ready when you start buying the tickets and everything else. If you have 15,000, like that's a good amount of money, okay? It's a safe amount of money, but you will spend a lot more than that, okay? Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. You will spend more than 15,000. Um, okay. While we were tracking the ticket price, we started deciding the cities that we wanted to go, right? Only to decide the cities, but we didn't do anything else. We only decided, oh, we want to go to Madrid, Barcelona. We want to visit our friend in Porto, in Portugal. We want to go to Rome, to the beach in Italy, and Paris. Okay, we decided this, and we asked ChatGPT to make an itinerary, right? Because we weren't sure if it was better to go to Paris and then Italy or go to Italy and then Paris. So we chose the cities that we really wanted to go. And then we just let ChatGPT do its job. And then it told us the best itinerary, right? Okay, so we had an itinerary. We were tracking the flight tickets. And we decided, oh, okay, it's important to decide how many days you want to stay, right? Because we also started planning how many days do we want to stay in Barcelona, in Madrid, blah blah. So we started like deciding, I want to spend more time in Paris. Oh, I want to spend less time in Rome. So we started thinking about this stuff, but it was only when we bought the main plane tickets that we finally could do the other things. So you track the prices, and when you finally buy the plane ticket, the round trip to Brazil, that's when you finally can do the whole rest. Okay, the in-betweens. So we finally bought the plane ticket in December, I think, and then we started actually working on the itinerary. So we moved on to let's make an itinerary that makes sense. And then ChatGPT did it for us. We decided how many days we wanted to stay in each city. And then we started buying the tickets to travel inside Europe because you have the main tickets from the round trip to Brazil. And then you also have to decide, okay, how am I gonna go from Portugal to Spain, from Spain to Italy, from Italy to France, and from France to Portugal, right? So that was the itinerary that we did. And you need to know if it's better to go by train, by plane, by bus sometimes. We used the three. We used a bus, a train, and a plane too. Some cities make it makes more sense to use the train, some the a plane. So You start looking up, look up, go to the internet. We used the app Omio. Omio is an app that is great for this because it shows you the prices for all types of transportation. So then we had video chats like here on Zoom, and we bought the tickets together, you know? So we found the best ticket from Madrid to Barcelona, and then everybody bought it together. And here's my first advice: if you're going on a group, buy your tickets together. One person buys all the tickets and the others pay this person. It's better, okay? Because one of these tickets, Karen bought her ticket, and then when Anna and I tried to buy ours, it was sold out. The plane was full. Karen was the last person to get that ticket. So we were a little scared, like, oh my God, Karen's gonna travel alone and we're gonna have to find another plane. But then it worked out. The next day they opened up more spots, so it was fine. But my advice is, if you're going on a group, buy together. If you're going as a couple, buy together, buy the tickets together, so there's no risk of someone not being able to buy the same flight, the same train. Okay. Uh, Make sure you are very organized. We created a Google Docs, a Google document, and everybody had access. And we made the whole itinerary in the Google Docs. The day that we arrive in the city, the day that we leave, the day that we go to another city. Blah, blah. You need to be very careful with the dates. Very, very careful. You need to know the exact date that you will go from one city to another, okay? Because if you make a mistake, most of these tickets are non-refundable, não reembolsáveis. So you have to be careful. Pay attention to the dates when you are buying the hotel too, the hostel. Be careful with the check-in, the check-out dates. Okay, you need to be an organized person. Okay, there's no other way. Okay, so we were buying the tickets inside Europe, and after that, we thought about the rides like passeios, the tourist attractions, everything we wanted to do in each city, right? We In the meantime, like enquanto isso, nesse meio tempo, in the meantime, we were watching so many TikToks, so many videos of people reviewing places, recommending what to do in this city, what to do in that city. And we were already deciding what we wanted to do, if we wanted to go to a festival, to a touristic spot, to an event, okay? Uh, if we wanted to take a class, like there are a lot of cooking classes in Italy, for example. There are a lot of boat rides. In this trip, I took 3 boat rides. I love boat rides, by the way. And so we were already thinking about, oh, all the fun stuff that we want to do in each city, right? But only after all the tickets were bought, all the plane, train, and bus tickets were bought inside Europe. Then we started buying the tourist attractions city by city. So the first city, what are we gonna do? And then we decided, and then we bought the tickets. Okay, and here comes my first tip. But just to organize in your mind, just to sum it up, first you start saving money. Then you decide how long you're gonna stay, when you wanna go, and when you wanna come back, and track the flight prices, okay? Rastreia os preços. After you buy the main ticket, you start buying the tickets inside the country. What cities do you want to go? How many days you want to stay in each city? And after that, you think about the tourist attractions, the rides, everything you want to do inside those cities, okay? We in the Google documents, we also put everything we wanted to do, recommendations, TikTok links. You know, TikTok was the Bible for our trip, literally, literally. And here is my first advice. This is the most important advice, which is don't turn your trip into a marathon. Your Euro trip doesn't need to be a marathon, okay? Don't get crazy and try to do 10 things in one day. No, 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 no. You need to choose your battles. Choose your battles. Some things you have to give up. Some things you have to prioritize, right? Make sure you are prioritizing what you really want to do. Don't do something just because, oh, everybody says I have to do this, so I have to do this. Wait. Like, make sure you are doing things you actually enjoy, right? So, for example, the Louvre. We went to Paris and we didn't go to the Louvre Museum. Okay. We went there outside, we took pictures, but we didn't go inside. And everybody was saying, oh my God, you need to go to the Louvre, blah, blah, blah. But we decided that on the 3 days that we wanted that we were in Paris, we didn't want to spend a whole day inside a museum. We would rather just go around the city and know the places and blah, blah. So we decided that we are not huge fans of museums, you know? Like it's not the main goal of our trip. I know that some people love it. I think I would love the Louvre. Like it's very much me. It's my personality. But I didn't care. Like I prefer to go to the Versailles Palace. I prefer to go to Versailles than the Louvre, you know, like I chose my battles. And actually we chose to go to Disney, so we prefer Disney than the Louvre. But we ended up not going to Disney because of the heat wave, because the weather was really, really hot. But anyways, make sure you decide to do fun things. Be careful. For example, oh, I am going to Italy. Italy is church after church after church after monument after a beautiful construction. So if you don't think about fun things you want to do, you will go from church to church. Just looking at the buildings and just saying, wow, it's really beautiful. They are really beautiful. But remember to plan some fun things, right? So in Barcelona, for example, we went to the beach. We went to Sagrada Familia. It was amazing. We went inside, so we actually bought the tickets. We went to a flamenco show. It was so amazing to see the artists dancing, singing, performing on a stage. It was amazing. We took a boat ride around the coast, passeio de barco. We went around the coast of Barcelona. It was so beautiful, so fun, so much fun. It was one of my favorite rides. And like think about fun things to do and not only walking and taking pictures. I when I started planning, I told the girls, please, let's not take a trip that we will just walk and take pictures. No, let's do something. And then we agreed, everybody agreed that we wanted this type of trip, and it was so much fun. It was so much fun. And don't try to do everything in one day, okay? Be careful with that because you spend so much energy in this trip. So sometimes it's just not worth it. Don't look, we organized in a way that in one day we would go to two attractions, tops. Like it was the max, okay? Don't plan two, three, four attractions to see in one day. Like I am talking about attractions that you need to buy tickets. Okay, so there are some that you need to buy tickets. Don't try to do three, four, five in one day. Choose two, one. Because some days you're gonna be so tired and you won't enjoy what you spent money on because you're too tired, and sometimes the distance is really big and long, and you have to choose your battles. Think wisely, okay? Sabiamente. Pense sabiamente. Think wisely how you're gonna spend your day. And hear me out. We were in the summer, so we were really tired because the weather was really hot. So it was great that we scheduled some events very far from each other. So, for example, in Rome was really hot, but we went to the Pantheon and to the Colosseum. So, the Pantheon we did at 9 a.m. and the Colosseum 3 p.m. So there was a big distance between these two. We could have lunch, we could sit down, drink some water. So that's what I'm saying, like keep a long distance between, like talking about time between the things you want to do, especially because in the meantime, you can walk around the city. Your trip doesn't need to be a marathon. You don't need to run everywhere, like this makes the trip unpleasant, desagradável. And also, I have a big advice too. When you have a day, for example, you are going to the city and you have one free day. You don't have anything to do. You have a lot of hours, or maybe you have something to do, but imagine you have a block of hours that you don't have anything to do. Don't walk around with no specific directions. Don't do this because you will get tired. You need to save your energy in this type of trip. So if you have a free window of a few hours in a city, here's what you're gonna do. Don't walk around with no direction. Don't do that because you need to save your energy. Go to ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT, hey, I am in Paris and I wanna go to a library. I wanna eat the best croissant in town. I wanna take a picture in a beautiful place. I wanna go to a park. So tell ChatGPT some things you wanna do in that city and let ChatGPT make a nice itinerary for you. Okay. So for example, the day that we canceled Disney, we had Disney that day, but then we canceled and we had a free day in Paris. So we had no plans for that day. So here's what I did. This day was so much fun because we could see so many things in the city in one day. It wasn't exhausting because we planned an itinerary, you know? So here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna tell ChatGPT, hey, I have these many hours to spend in the city. Please make an itinerary for me that I can do this and this and that. And then ChatGPT made one so perfect because we went to all the important spots in Paris in one day. So we went to the Triumph Arc, and then we went to Notre Dame, and then we went to a neighborhood that was really beautiful with really cute stores. We really liked this neighborhood. It's the Latin Quarter. And in the Latin Quarter, there was a library, a famous library that I loved. One of my goals was to go to a library in this trip, and ChatGPT put it in the itinerary. And then from that library, we went to the Louvre to take pictures, and then we went back to the Eiffel Tower again to watch the lights show at 11 p.m. So it's great because ChatGPT will tell you how to make this route. Because Paris, for example, is a huge city. You have no idea. And in Paris, sometimes you have to take a bus, sometimes you have to take a metro. So, considering the transportation that you need to take, you need to make an itinerary that makes sense. So, use ChatGPT for that, okay? Don't walk around with no purpose because you will waste time and you will miss some things that you wanted to see, but you didn't plan. So, even if you don't plan in advance, I made this itinerary the same day. I woke up in the morning and then I told ChatGPT that we had a free day and then it made the perfect itinerary for us. Seriously. And it was very perfect because at 10:30 p.m. we were at the Eiffel Tower to watch the lights show. Like it was very punctual too. So that's my number two, my second big advice for you. And guys, I can't stress this enough. Do your research, watch videos, be obsessed with this because you will learn so many things and it will save you from a lot of situations if you do your research. Make a folder, a folder like uma pasta no seu computador, a folder. Make a folder, divide things in categories, make a document, organize everything. Like it's the only way to travel in an independent way is if you are organized and curious. You need to be curious because you need to look up. You need to go to websites and watch vlogs and watch videos and listen to other people. Talk to people that have gone there before. It's so important because you can avoid, like, evitar some stressful situations. You can avoid inconveniences if you just do your research. Pesquise, pesquise. That's what I'm trying to say, okay? Be very curious. The 6 months before your trip, you should spend your free time watching videos and listening to other people recommending stuff, alerting, warning you about some situation, like everything you can find on the internet, but you have to be curious. And okay, so I think our itinerary was perfect. I loved it. The number of days that we decided to stay in each city, in my opinion, it was perfect. For example, and that's my other advice. Talk to people that have gone there before because We saw many people saying that Madrid was smaller and Barcelona was bigger. So everybody said like, "Oh, you can do everything in Madrid in one day." So because of that, we chose to stay in Madrid for one day and in Barcelona for 3 days. So because of everything we saw on the internet and we listened to people that have gone there before, we knew that in one day you could visit Rome and you can do everything you need in Rome. One full day is enough. And then I talked to some people that went to Rome and some people that have gone to Rome before, and they agreed and they said, Nicole, you're right, because I spent 2, 3 days in Rome and there was nothing to do. Like you could literally do everything in one day. So listen to people, talk to people that have gone there so you can plan an itinerary that makes sense because Rome is a big city, right? Like Rome is the dream destination. But that doesn't mean that you have so many things to do in 4 days in Rome. No, 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 no. So talk to people and decide what's best for you. So I think our itinerary was perfect, perfect. Okay, and still talking about itinerary, a lot of people say, don't go too many cities. Choose one city, two cities that you want to go, and you can stay longer in these cities. I understand. I understand this advice, and maybe you think it's better too, but for us, it really worked well. The way we did it, we chose a lot of cities. It was Porto, Madrid, Barcelona, Rome, Sorrento, Paris, and Lisbon. 7 cities total. It's a lot. But in 20 days total, right? But we knew which cities we wanted to stay longer, you know? So we knew that this city we want to stay one full day, and this one 2 full days, and this one full days. So the way we balanced this, like the way that we organized it was perfect. So I think it's totally possible to go to many cities. It is. It is exhausting. It is. But following my advice, my suggestions, it doesn't need to be so exhausting because I have another advice that will help you in that. So it's okay to go to many cities, but you have to be smart. You have to be smart. Choose how many days you want to stay in each city and keep in mind, okay. Wait. Let me tell you something. 20 days, in my opinion, was great. I loved it. I could have stayed 30 and I wouldn't care. But be careful, okay? Because 10 days in Europe feels like 40 days. So if you are a tired person and if you're a person that loves staying in your house, if you're a person that needs your bedroom and your shower, don't stay 20 days. 20 days is too much. 15 days tops, okay? 20 days is if you're if you want to get crazy. If you're saying like, "Oh, you only live once." Because at the end of the 20 days, the girls were like, "Oh, I just need my bedroom." uh, we were loving the last city. Paris was our favorite. Like, no, I can't say for the other girls, but we loved Paris. It was the last city, but we were tired, but it was like, okay, I'm ready to go home. So if you are a tired person, don't 15 days is 15 days is a lot. Okay, hear me out. 10 days is perfect. You can enjoy enough. Okay, 15 days is a lot, and 20 days is a little crazy. But that's what we did, and it was great. I wasn't exhausted. Like I loved it. And okay, here's my important advice. If you want to do 20, 30 days and visit a million cities, listen to me. There are days in the itinerary that you go from one city to another, right? So, for example, we arrived in Madrid on Monday and we spent the whole Tuesday in Madrid, and Wednesday we went to Barcelona. This is an example. Wednesday, the day that you go from one city to another, needs to be a rest day, dia de descanso. So, in your itinerary, the days that you travel from one city to another, make this day a rest day. This is how you keep your mental health and your physical health like alive, up and running. Because the day that we traveled from one city to another, we knew that it was gonna be an exhausting day. You have to go to airports, you have to check in, you have to go through the security. So it's a lot of things to do, a lot of things to worry about. We have to take the metro, maybe a taxi, maybe an Uber, maybe like it's stressful. And it's the day that you will arrive, take a shower, wash your hair, okay, ladies? Like you need to have this day that you will go from one city to another. And when you arrive, you're gonna just sleep, take a long shower, and the next day you start being a tourist. You know what I mean? So on the itinerary, make sure that these days are rest days. Don't plan anything for them, okay? The only day that we planned something was from Madrid to Barcelona because the trip was really short and it was a train trip, and train trips are so much better than plane trips. So the train was nice. It was only 3 hours, but it was so relaxing. I loved that train. So we arrived in Barcelona at 12 p.m. Okay. The only day that we actually did something, we scheduled for 9 p.m. So we had a window of 8 hours to take a nap, take a shower. So this was the only day that we made an exception. But the rest of it, the days that we traveled from one city to another, it was a day to sleep and take a long shower. Okay. Same thing when you return, okay? I include Lisbon in the itinerary, but we didn't see Lisbon at all. The last day, we arrived in Lisbon in the morning, and the flight to Brazil was the next morning. So we spent 24 hours in Lisbon. We only slept. Literally. We slept, had dinner, and then we slept again the whole day. So save the last day of your trip to sleep because the plane trip is so long. It's really exhausting. So you need to be well rested for the plane trip, okay? Don't think like, oh, I can sleep on the plane. No, 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 no. Sleep one day before. So save the last day of your trip to sleep, okay? It's really important because your body might collapse. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Oh, okay. I still have some things to say, but I'm gonna make it short. An Euro trip, it's not a culinary trip. It's not a food trip. Okay. Even though it's something that I love when I travel, I love spending money on food, but this is not the type of trip that you will go to restaurants and have a culinary experience. And it's not. Some days you will work, like some days you won't have time to sit on a restaurant and have a nice meal. Because some days you have to go from one place to another, and then when you look at the clock, when you look at your watch, it's like 10 p.m. at night. And like the schedule is not normal. You don't eat in regular times. You don't eat like, oh, it's 12 p.m. I'm gonna have lunch. No, this is not how it works. Like some days we had lunch at 3 p.m. and the lunch was a croissant. So it's the type of trip that you won't follow your food, your meals routine. You will not have a normal lunch, a normal breakfast. Some days we woke up at 11 a.m. because we really needed to sleep, and the first meal was a sandwich at 12 p.m. You know what I mean? Like you have to choose your battles, right? Você tem que escolher suas batalhas. So some days you can't eat properly and you walk so much and you do so many things and you snack a lot. Snack, eu tô usando no sentido de petiscar. You snack a lot because, oh, I want to eat a macaron. Oh, no, I want a croissant. Oh, no, I want to. You snack so much that you don't feel hungry to have full meals. So some days we didn't have dinner. You know what I mean? So, and the food is expensive, so you have to choose your battle. So, uh, some days you don't feel hungry. Your body, keep in mind that your body will be in a completely different routine than your regular one. So, some days you don't even feel hungry. And trust me, I am always hungry. I'm a person that loves eating. And some days I was just like, I don't care if I don't have dinner today. You just don't be crazy about having proper meals, like refeições certinhas, proper meals, and keep in mind that this is not a food trip. You're gonna try a lot of things, you're gonna snack a lot of things, but to sit in a bistro, and drink some wine, uh, it's not this type of trip. I think in an Euro trip, it's better to spend your money in experiences, tourist attractions and rides and everything, and buying souvenirs because they have the best souvenirs. I love my souvenirs. I think I'm gonna show them on my stories, on Wave stories, okay? I can film a sequence of stories showing the souvenirs in English, so I can do that. So it's better to spend your money in the experiences and the souvenirs and shopping. It's good to shop in Europe. So I would do that instead of going to expensive restaurants. I don't think it's a good idea. But it's my opinion, my suggestion. Okay, another advice. Yes, bring a personal pharmacy. You are not crazy. Take your medications. Be careful about this. And take some crazy medications too. For example, take a medication for your stomach. Even if you don't have stomach problems, take medication for headaches, for earaches, for the flu, if you have a cold, if you have muscular pain. Like make a list of medication that of symptoms that you could have during this trip because you cannot buy some medication there, okay? The first day I got sick, literally the first day of the trip. I was throwing up, vomiting so much, so much, so much. And I brought Vonal, I think it's Vonal. I brought Vonal, but Vonal only made me feel worse. We brought Dramin, and Dramin worked a little, but it made me so sleepy. And then I tried to go to a drugstore and I couldn't buy anything. So bring a personal pharmacy. Be crazy, okay? You were right. And it's better to prevent, it's better to be safe than sorry. O ditado em inglês é melhor prevenir do que remediar. O inglês é assim, it's better to be safe than sorry. And when you're there and you have a crazy stomach ache or a crazy headache or or for example, you can't go to the bathroom, right? You need to have a medication to solve this. So bring a personal pharmacy, okay? Um, Okay, I have another advice to give, but I'm gonna save this from for another episode. And my next advice is don't go in the peak of summer, okay? Like we did. Actually, the peak of summer is now in July, and we went in June, but still, we got one of the worst heat waves on the calor in Europe ever registered. So, can you believe that? I would, if I could change something about this trip, I would go in the spring. No, we went in the spring. Sorry. I would go sometime between winter and spring or fall. Try to go in these seasons that the weather is mild. Don't go in the peak of summer. I lived in one of the hottest cities in Brazil ever, and Europe was worse. I live in Bahia, and Europe was so much worse. I can't tell you how. I can't put into words how hot it was. Okay. Oh, this is a good advice too. I know you want to bring 1,000 different clothes and outfits, but don't. Okay, put everything in your suitcase, na sua mala, and your backpack. Leave room, deixe espaço. Leave room in your backpack for souvenirs. I'm telling you, the souvenirs are the best. You will get crazy. You will want to buy everything. So take an empty backpack. Don't fill up your backpack. You will regret it. Você vai se arrepender. If you take a backpack full of stuff, leave room, deixa espaço in your backpack, a big room for everything you want to buy, okay? Because you will want to buy things. Especially because I forgot to mention that. Remember those euros that I was saving and buying in the beginning? That money, the money that I saved, was perfect for when I was there. So when I tell you to save 10,000, 15,000, it's because when you are there, you will spend more money than you imagined, So go to Europe with an amount of money to spend on souvenirs, food, like things you weren't planning. So that's why I'm telling you that you should save money before anything. because even if you can, even having a credit card and buying everything in a credit card like I did, when I arrived in Europe, I had a lot of money in my savings account. Besides the 50 euros a day, I had more. Because if I wanted to buy a present, if I wanted to buy something a little more expensive, I would have that money saved, you know? So just keep money saved because when you are there, you will want to spend a little more than 50 euros because you will want to buy souvenirs and everything and eat nice things, you know? So uh, when you buy everything, pay for everything, but when you are there, make sure you have the 50 euros a day to eat. Okay, 50 euro a day is enough to eat. Okay, I'm telling you, even less than that. But have more than 50 euro a day because you will want to buy souvenirs and you will want to do something that wasn't planned and that you need money for. Okay. Um, and my last advice is plan your outfits very carefully, okay? Because you don't want to bring unnecessary clothes and you want to make sure that you have something to wear every day. When we were there, we used the laundry rooms in the hostels, right? Uh, so you have laundry rooms around the cities that you can wash your clothes normally. So make sure you are bringing enough pieces. Make sure you have enough like bottoms and tops and combinations. Make these combinations matching these outfits. You know, plan your outfits. Outfits. Quando eu falo outfits, é aquela ideia do outfit, né? É aquela ideia do look. A gente fala look em inglês, tipo assim, ah, meu look de hoje. Em inglês, essa palavra é outfits, não é look, tá? Então, outfits eu tô querendo dizer isso. So, plan your outfits. Even if you're a man, you have to plan how many shirts, how many shorts, how many pants, how many pairs of shoes, right? So, plan in advance to make sure that you are not bringing too much and that you're not bringing too little. Okay. If you want, I can record another episode telling you how I planned my outfits. I planned them perfectly. I felt like a psychopath because my organization of my outfits was perfect. And I had room, I had space in my backpack to bring souvenirs because I didn't bring many clothes. And I made combinations that worked for every weather, for everywhere. So it was great. It was great. This was something that I did right, planning my outfits. So that's my final advice for you. I still want to make an episode about hostels because we stayed in hostel, right? And I want to tell you how that went. It was a nice experience to stay in hostels. And I don't recommend to stay in Airbnbs, and I'm gonna tell you why. And I also want to make an episode about speaking English there, right? My experience speaking English, like how I felt. The tourist attractions were in English and everything. So I want to talk about that. And if you want, I can talk about the outfit, how I plan my outfits every time that I travel. Okay. And I think that's it. I think that's it. Like this is the most part. I think I was able to explain everything. And if I left anything out, please feel free to ask me a question on our Instagram DM or in the comments. And let me know if you want to know anything else or anything specific about this trip, okay? I hope this wasn't too long, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.